got out of a training though.
I only get so many more swings at that, so I wanted to get my money's worth for the last. The honorary bell ringer for June 24th, and I want to thank Elizabeth Cummins for not ruining the surprise because she guessed a few weeks ago. When I thought of this little tidbit for our meetings, there was one person who I remember my father mentioning that he worked with at Hurley Hospital, with a very unique name. Bell, longtime employee at Hurley Medical Center. And there you see Bell, and to her left, you see her husband, Charlie Bell Jr. And many of you recognize the young man to her right, Charlie Bell III, her son. And you see her other son there as well. So Bell is the best person to close out the honorary bell ringers with for this Rotary year. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. Allegiance. And now the four-way test of the things we think, say, or do. Is it the truth? Is it fair to all concerned? Will it build goodwill and better friendships? Will it be beneficial to all concerned? And now, a longtime member, past president of our club, who is most famously known as Dartman Dave, but today is also becoming a sponsor of a new member of our club. Please welcome David Smith.
Those of you who have been around long enough to remember the infamous poetry guy, whom I contacted this morning and he was able to provide something somewhat inspirational, and here it is without further introduction. It's titled Gastronomic. I can't imagine a day will pass without discussing the price of gas, how its cost has gone astronomical, disrupting our very gastronomical, forcing many of us to choose between which of our cars to use, the one that is admired for its style or the one that uses less gas per mile. And sometimes you must even skip places too expensive to make the trip. Each morning we look with trepidation to see the impact of wild inflation, trembling at the cost to fill a tank without taking a loan from a local bank. We struggle to adapt and somehow balk at riding a bicycle or taking a walk, using the kitchen to actually cook, or staying at home and reading a book. Perhaps this crisis of natural gas gives us a chance for privilege to pass, and we will be left with brand new choices and perhaps listen to greener voice.
Wonderful job, David. We do have a robust agenda today, so Rotarians in the Zoom will leave you for about 6 minutes in the room. Let's get your food, and we'll be back together at about 12:20 to continue with our meeting.
How you doing, Ed?
Good. How are you?
Great, thank you.
Good. We're all here for Kyle's roast, apparently.
We
That's what
didn't
we've
want to
been
miss
looking
that.
for. Yeah, all year, right? That's what we've been looking forward to.
I think one of the best ones was Tiffany Flynn's roast. That was hilarious. That's back when Linda Moxham did the roast.
Mhm. Those were fun.
I was just a guest back then, but I remember it like it was yesterday.
I'm going to click off and see if I can get this on another computer, because my video is just not happening.
Yeah, try that, Ray, and I'll let you back in.
Okay.
All right, welcome back, everyone. We'll allow you to grab your seats. We have a couple of exciting items. And then there's something that President-elect Elizabeth has at the end of the meeting. I'm not sure what this is all about. They told me to show up. Fellow Rotarians, today is my privilege and pleasure to welcome. They have this taped up for you, Ken. Sorry, I got to untape it. Let's welcome Ken Bobek to our club. I'd like to call up now David Smith and Ken Bobek to the podium. Ken is not a stranger to the club. He's been visiting and has had his orientation and has gone through all the steps to become a member of our club. I'd like to formally introduce Ken Bobek. You have been invited to join the Rotary Club of Flint because we believe you possess the qualities required of a Rotarian and will be present and will have present in you the ideals of Rotary to business and professional colleagues and the wider community. We know that you are aware of and have accepted the obligations and responsibility of Rotary membership. In our club, you will be entrusted to be a good Rotarian. We know that you will find inspiration and service above self. You are joining not only the Rotary Club of Flint, but the Rotary movement with over 1 million members around the globe. I now ask David Smith, your sponsor, to present you with your Rotary badge, your pin, we have your mug, your certificate, and we'd also like to ask David to offer a few words of remarks. David?
This will not be in prose. I'll just say it is always a privilege to bring a new member into Rotary. One of the most important activities that Rotarian can take. I'm happy to bring my friend Ken in. As most of you know, I've now left SCAPS after 4 decades, and Ken is taking my place there. And in my view, and in the culture of our company, we want to be a part of the community that we serve and has supported us for 111 years. And Ken jumped at the chance to be a part of this organization. So I'm going to let him tell you a little bit about himself as you get to know him. But he grew up in Michigan. He attended MSU. Just want to mention it, taking a degree in electrical engineering, and then on to Wayne State University, where he earned his MBA. Ken went on to hold several positions, focusing mainly on information technology and operations, leading sizable teams in a variety of different companies. And late last year, in our search for a person to take on responsibilities of SCAPS, we were lucky to find Ken and invited him to move here, and he has since done that. So he's now Vice President in charge of retail flooring and doing a great job of that. Ken is a runner. He plans to line up for the Crim Festival of Races this fall, or this August. He enjoys boating and spending time with his family. And both of his children graduated from MSU just this spring, actually, and are already out and gainfully employed, surprising to most of us, I suppose. Ken and Debbie, his wife Debbie, just recently moved to Fenton and are getting to know the community there, and obviously the greater community of Flint. So I'm proud to have him as part of this group, who's been an important part of my professional and personal development over the years. I hope you'll welcome him as well as you welcomed me over this last year. So with no further ado, welcome to Rotary.
And let's get a.
Just to expand a little bit, started at SCAF last November and, cannot thank David enough for the onboarding. Not only did he teach me what, role is, but he also introduced me and got me exposed to the area of Flint. So again, I grew up in Metro Detroit most of my life and, not knowing the history of Flint and the culture around it, he took the time to show me the murals of the area, the different places where you want to eat, just all over, which was in the history of it, which is really fantastic. I owe him a lot for that. So, and as he mentioned, I have a wife and 2 kids. Next month, my wife and I will be married 25 years. So we're pretty excited about that. And, most of my kids graduated within the last 6 months. So huge pay raise at home, no longer having to do tuition and making those type of payments. My daughter will be, she's going to work she graduated with accounting, going to work at Grant Thornton down in Southfield. Studying for her CPA now, will start there full-time next year. And my son graduated with supply chain management, which is obviously very critical right now. And we're in the process. He took a job with a company called Medline. They're based, they have distribution centers all over the country and internationally. He's going to be working in Dallas, outside of the Dallas area. So in a couple of months or a couple of weeks, we're going to be moving him down there. So that's going to be a big change and stuff like that. So I'm excited to be part of it and look forward to meeting everyone and getting more involved in the Rotary Club.
Amy, do we need to call someone up? You're good? Okay, all right. So another great thing that we get to do closing out the Rotary year is recognition of a Paul Harris Fellow. As you know, the recognition of a Paul Harris Fellow is recognized by the Rotary Foundation, and it's our way of expressing appreciation for a substantial contribution to its humanitarian and educational programs. The recognition is named after Rotary's founder, the late Paul Harris, a Chicago lawyer who started Rotary with 3 business associates in 1905. The world of goodwill and better understanding comes closer to reality today because one of our own has made a substantial gift to the Rotary Foundation, and a Paul Harris Fellow recognition may be presented. In this case, it's a Paul Harris +3. In being named a Paul Harris Fellow, Bob Sibilski joins a remarkable company of people throughout the world, all recognized for their commitment to service above self to benefit local, national, and international causes. It gives me great pleasure to invite Bob up to present you with your Paul Harris +3 pin. And please remember, as Bob is coming up, that the appropriate protocol is to stand and offer standing applause. Bob, congratulations. I don't know what's going on. We've got a Spartan and now Notre Dame. I mean, you want to say any words, Bob?
No. I'm always pleased to get a call there. And I lead the orientations, help with the orientations, and we talk about Paul Harris in there. And I'm just very proud of it. Thank you.
Congratulations. Bob. Congratulations. Under health and welfare, are there items that we want to mention under health and welfare? For guests to be welcomed, I'll mention that I have one guest, my good friend Burton Brown. Burton needs to stand up. He is in my line of work, he's a lobbyist in Lansing for the firm Kelly Cawthorne, but he represents a Kelly Empower within that firm as well. So congratulations and welcome, Burton. Thank you. And also we found out is a high school classmate of President-elect Elizabeth as well. So they were trading stories from Big Central. Are there other guests to be welcomed here? Ashley Prue, who is gone through orientation, is soon to be a member. Welcome again, Ashley. Great to see you. Trying to think if I see any other guests. I don't believe that I do, but great to see a full house today. We have our 50-50, and I think District Governor-elect, and he's going to soon lose the last word of that title. You and I are counting them down, but for different reasons. Yeah. Here, let me, I think it's her at the table. So, yeah, Elizabeth, yeah, not you, because Burton will switch them up here. For third place, we have 83370. 83370. Jerry Hill, our you know, this meeting has Bob being a Paul Harris Fellow +3, great things for Rotary, and then Jerry Hill, we're gonna 50-50. Yeah, for second place, 83389. James Franklin. Great past president and my former coworker as well. First place and the opportunity to buy Bert and I a round of drinks later tonight, 83455. President-elect Elizabeth, oh, there we go. See, I knew it. Thank you, District Governor-elect Mike. Marie, for our June birthdays, then we're gonna have a few thank yous. I'm gonna call up an announcement before I do my thank yous, but let's first have our June birthdays. So please get your dollars ready if you were born in June.
Okay, June birthdays. On June the 1st, Paul Bryant. June.
Okay.
He said June. Okay, just be quiet. Okay, George. And George, don't egg him on. George eggs him on. Okay, it is the truth. Okay, for June the 1st, Paul Bryant and David Smith. Come on up, David, as Paul is not here today. June the 3rd is Joel Fike. June the 5th is Elizabeth Jordan. The 21st is Tim Goyette. Haven't seen him in a while. And June the 24th is Libby Maynard. I don't know if anybody's heard from her, but and how is she doing? Okay, because today's her birthday. So, okay. And then June the 26th is Becky Millsap, and she's up there. So I don't know if she can send her dollar down. There you go. June the 29th is myself. And then June the 30th is Teresa Williams. And so now if we can sing a hearty happy birthday to everyone.
So next Rotary year, then President Elizabeth will not stand quite so far away from the microphone. There's some kind of sing as I do. I want to call up for an announcement, Stephen Lowe.
Good afternoon. After a 2-year pandemic hiatus, we are finally on September 14th going to have our Regal Community Service Awards event. And there will be a change of venue. It's going to be at the FIM this year. We are honoring Mother Sandra Jones, Brenda Clack, and Russell Deutsch. So I hope you'll mark your calendars, but the real reason I come before you is because in conjunction with that event, we take an interfaith group to Israel. And after many delays, we're going this year, October 26th through November 6th. So if you have wanted to go to Israel, if you have postponed it, if you'd like to go on a wonderful, wonderful trip with a group of people, we have some openings, please call my office. The event is September 14th, and the mission is October 26th through November 6th. You'll be back in time to vote.
You can vote before you leave absentee, right? That's just in case. Thank you, Stephen, for that. Appreciate it. Looking forward to that event. It's always one of the, we talked about as we're coming back, the Regal Community Service Awards are one of those events that we look forward to as a community. It's always a great time, and some really touching stories of unsung heroes in many cases in our community who do great work. So thank you, Stephen, for that. I want to also remind us about our Ukraine concert. We've talked about it a little bit. You've seen it on a number of the messages. We are coming down to the final days. So if you have not bought your tickets, we have the opportunity here at the beginning of the meeting, but certainly online or via phone or at the box office. We'd love to have you. And if you can't attend, that's okay. You can let the box office know if you call that you'd like to donate your tickets to a youth serving organization. So appreciate that and looking forward to it. Looking forward to seeing all of you. And it will be on, Marie, was that your birthday? So we'll be able to celebrate Marie, which we did not know that when we planned that date. I mean, we seriously did not know that. But I can't think of a better birthday present for Marie. Oh, that is awesome. So if you didn't buy your ticket already, you really have to buy a ticket now. You don't want a former educator hunt you down because you didn't buy a ticket for the concert. Besides one announcement left that I have, are there any other announcements before I go on to my presidential thank yous and one acknowledgement that I want to make? All right, then I first want to start off by thanking our amazing board. I know I did this during the club assembly, but I want to do it at the end of this year as well. Included on this list, not listed, but also Mia McNeil and Stu Kelly for their work at the beginning of the year. But we've had an amazing board. This has not been an easy ride. There's a lot of good things, but we're heading in the right direction with good momentum. And with your support as club members, we will continue to head in that right direction and take our club to more and better heights in a new way, but that's right for our community. Included in that list also is Amy Vanderput, who I don't know if she's still here, but she'll see the recording maybe. But Amy, I see your hand waving. Thank you, Amy. You know, some of you, if you saw the note, Amy bought a new house and moved as we're getting out pledge cards, right? So it normally is a big task, but while you're moving a house also is even more. So thank you, Amy, for your hard work as well. I want to thank our new members, including Ken today. Thank you for joining us in Rotary. This is wonderful. Raphael as well as a returning member. I'm trying to think if there's anyone else here who's a new member. Ashley, soon to be new member. Thank you for joining Rotary. Membership truly is the lifeblood of Rotary. At every RI event we go to, that's what they say, right, District Governor Mike? Membership is the lifeblood of Rotary. So thank you for joining our club. I want to thank our sponsors of new members as well. The active sponsorship is one of the most important things you can do for our club. Not only, it's not about numbers, it's about the person and adding the right people who fit the four-way test and objectives and ideals of Rotary is very, very important. I want to thank all of our Paul Harris and Jack Hamady fellows. I had the privilege of introducing and recognizing many this year who actually earned that privilege several years ago because of COVID. We also have a unique individual who's not here today, John Daly, who was recognized for getting a Paul Harris and a Jack Hamady. John will be leaving our club because of his work transition. He'll be joining, I believe, the Rotary Club of Lapeer beginning this Rotary year. But we want to thank John and thank all of our donors, both to our club's endowment and to the Rotary Foundation as well. Our committee chairs, our club service volunteers, the wonderful work of our inspirational messages and all the great things of set up a takedown, bulletin, all of those things do great work and make this club special. want to thank everyone who brought a guest as well. Guests are how we get new members. People don't come, they don't join if they don't show up first. And I want to thank all of you for being engaged. I also want to thank, I don't know if she can hear me, but Miss Cynthia here in the staff at the food bank, led by Kara Ross, but Cynthia does wonderful work. It really takes care of us. And President-elect Elizabeth knows to let her know the week ahead when we have a good sized crowd coming, and she appreciates that. We thank Cynthia for her agility and work with us this year. And finally, I want to thank our past presidents. Our past presidents are a special group, and I advise the board that when you're president, to lean on our past presidents. They will give you good encouragement, good insight, good wisdom. But there's one past president in particular, and we don't have it. I think Ken, we needed your son at supply chain at RI. But President-elect Elizabeth will have the privilege of presenting on my behalf an additional Paul Harris Fellowship for past President Rob Jewell. Past President Rob, you've been just wonderful and a good friend. You along with Jerry Hill and Janice Harsher were my sponsors in this club. Helped shepherd me through group study exchange in Korea, and then coming back, joining the board, what it meant to be a Rotarian, and what it means to be president of this club. And I just want to thank you for that. And so have the privilege of rewarding you with that. And we'll do the proper acknowledgement later, but it's on its way. Let's give Rob a round of applause. And then there's one, I talked about the concert as well. There is one other acknowledgement I want to take personal presidential privilege of doing, recognizing someone who this community lost, but who myself and a few others in this room lost as an incredible friend, mentor, role model, boss, and hero. That's Mr. Dwayne Miller, who passed away early this week. Not only do you know Dwayne or knew Dwayne, he was an executive at General Motors. He's born and raised here in Flint. Went down to Detroit, all over the world with General Motors. But about 15 years ago, he came back to Flint and he became an executive at the chamber. That led him to also being interim city administrator for the city of Flint during our emergency management crisis. But Dwayne also adopted a group of young leaders in Flint, of which I have the privilege of being one. He was a mentor, a guide, he's a family friend before I was born, but really took me under his wing. I would not be in my career, in my life, as a husband, as a friend, the man I am without Dwayne Miller. He fought cancer for longer than we ever knew. When he was working at the chamber, he was actually in remission. We never knew he had it. He came back and he fought almost a 6-year struggle, not only around the United States, but even going to Turkey during the depths of COVID for experimental treatment. He called me last September, said, I'm playing golf, I'm good. It's over. The Lord is wonderful, but we know cancer sometimes has an alternative story. And it came back this spring, went back to Turkey, and they said there's nothing left he can do, that they can do. And he passed away early this week with his family in Atlanta, where he had relocated to be closer to his children. But just a heavy loss. And I know for Raphael, for Burton, I know for James, particularly I would say for the African-American men in this community, he was something special that we could look up to and would at times kick us in the rear end when needed, and would bring that particular Dwayne-ness of giving you a taste of the General Motors days. And those of you who worked in the GM executive ranks know what I'm talking about. He could give you a little bit of that flavor every once in a while, but just a wonderful person to miss. So I'm going to ask if we could have a moment of silence in memory of Dwayne Miller. Thank you. And I let President Elizabeth know I was doing this. There is nothing Dwayne Miller would have loved more than seeing me be roasted. Matter of fact, he would have been up here with some material that would have been blue. Probably would have been accurate, but he would have loved to see this. So I can think of nothing better than to celebrate Dwayne with than for Elizabeth to come and make fun of me. So.
We'll try to do Dwayne proud.
All right, so welcome once again. This wasn't part of the plan, folks. Okay. Thank you, President Kyle, for that timely transition. Well, and again, this is the last Rotary meeting of the Rotary year. It's a very special occasion. I'm glad we have so many folks here. And we have an honorary bell ringer. I didn't coordinate with Kyle on this one, but our honorary bell ringer is none other than Reverend Kyle P. Bell, who is the director of the Catholic Student Center at the University of South Florida in St. Petersburg. I'm sure he's a great guy. I have to say his claim to fame for being selected today is that his name is Kyle. The last week of bell ringers, so we're scraping the bottom here. But hold up. Oh, wait, no. He's minimizing the Zoom people. All right, so yes, we in fact have a real President Kyle McCree as our actual bell ringer for today. President of the Rotary Club of Flint, fearless leader, and so many amazing things to note. But I have to say that Kyle is probably one of the more difficult people to try to roast if you didn't go to school with him. Because and so roasting him is not a small feat. It's not only because he's the trustee at the foundation where I work and that they happen to be having a board meeting today. It's not just because he and the previous president each had an extra 1 to 2 years to prepare their roast material. No, I will do what I can within the time that's been allotted, this 12 months for me to collect this information. And so Kyle's hard to roast because everybody loves Kyle. And so he's definitely set the bar very high. So thank you so much for being such a class act and being so hard to follow. I'll do my best. But let's see how we got here. Aww. Thank you, Phyllis McCree, for some assistance with the presentation today. I do appreciate that. Because fortunately she can go back a ways, and I find that you really do need to go back some way in order to get any good material. Thank you for noticing that, because yes, what I discovered in trying to go back is Kyle has been preparing to be president since birth. So you know that in order to be, a Rotary president, but also working in the field that he does, schmooze is a necessary skill. And Kyle has that in abundance. Now, you may be wondering, what does this cute little baby baseball picture have anything to do with that skill? Kyle knows sports, right? He's always able to talk about whatever sports topic. And here you have this toddler, not even able to walk yet. And he's already showing that he knows how to insert himself into a topical conversation. He could have been talking about any sort of things that even before he has skills to speak, he was already making sure everybody has something to do an hour and get involved. So we also know that, of course, the McCree family in Flint, like that's one of the big names. That is one of the names that is recognized and honored for many wonderful, meritorious reasons. And of course, Floyd McCree is pictured there with his grandson, Kyle, and leadership has been in his blood, in his genes. And so it's no surprise that he eventually came upon this path that he has. Now, of course, Floyd McCree was a champion, not only he was the first African-American mayor of the city of Flint, but also a champion for civil rights and fair housing and a variety of other things. So what you see on the bottom picture there, that's actually a picture of Kyle and his wonderful wife Camille, who couldn't join us today in person, next to a statue of Floyd McCree. And that is a statue to which this club proudly contributed some funding to support that. And Kyle didn't have to twist our arms too hard to get the board and the new projects committee to sign on to that. So that was not a hard sell. And in fact, Kyle, being the meritorious person that he is, actually kept himself well out of that process. But certainly, you know, leadership, this has been a path that he's been on for some time. He always knew he was going places. He's discovered along the way there are things that are faster than a velocipede, but that didn't stop him from trying there. Now you can see he's pointing on the right there to his current vehicle of choice. That's the one he's after now. Bit of an upgrade from where he. Yep. That looks like Devo Powell, if I'm not mistaken. And so he has, in fact, been preparing for a very, very, very long time. So this is a picture of Kyle that he actually completed the President-elect's training seminar in 1992 as a 4th grade after-school activity. And he's been planning his takeover of the club ever since. So it shouldn't be any surprise then that when he got into his secondary school years, that he was also showing, yes, he's in line for this service, this leadership. And so during Powers years, one of his former classmates was kind enough to supply me with a yearbook photo that documents that he was part of Student Congress even back then. I think that's Kyle there in the very middle of the picture. But I think it's a right there. So it's no surprise that he would have been in Student Congress, but I think we need a special report to hear a little bit more about what this experience was all about.
Let me just bring the cup up a little bit. Thank you, President-elect Elizabeth, who's coming up next. Let me get my dollars out now, because I'm in charge of turning up the heat on this roast a little bit. To speak about Kyle during his high school years. And so, as we know, many of us know, high school can be a bit of a turning point when a young man is really trying to find himself, and he finds himself at a crossroads and can really go in 2 different directions. Young Kyle, at that time, was really, at this crossroads, and he had an opportunity, was thinking about going, family history of politics, as Elizabeth covered, but he also thought about trying his hand into entertainment at one point too. If we can go to the next slide. So here you can see a picture of Kyle. Yep, I know you can't believe it. The stud that we have here in the tie today, on your left. And then to the right, that is not Kyle. That is a very famous character. At the time of a show in the 90s called in Family Matters. The show was called Family Matters. It ran 8 seasons, very popular. And this gentleman was known as Steve Urkel, who became the most popular character of the show. Now, many of you don't know, the show was shot out of Chicago. That Kyle at the time traveled to Chicago and was actually cast for this role to play Steve Urkel in Family Matters. Now, he declined to take this role because he then knew that it would interfere with his political career. So I can't quite say if it's the truth or not. And I'll put my $5 in the cup now. But this character may have been loosely based on the gentleman that we know, Kyle McCree now at this point. I will say that, Kyle, he had, even in this photo, I can tell you this was about around the time of his sophomore year. And so that, I already gave for my act of cruelty today. But in all honesty, Kyle has been a great friend. It's hard to roast somebody that you've known for over 25 years as a classmate. And it's amazing, the man, to watch over those 25 years into the man that he's grown into today. Now, Carl Winslow, who was the father, the main character in the show Family Matters, was a police officer. And many of the parallels, again, I can't say the show was based after Kyle, but Kyle's stepfather is a police officer. Father-in-law. Yeah, his father-in-law is a police officer. And also, Kyle and Camille didn't date in high school, but she believed in the principles of finance that we know is to the stock market, right? Buy low, sell high. So she didn't buy in this early. She didn't adopt this early, but she did buy in later on in life when they were married, and he gets the girl at the end. But in closing of this report, before I turn it back over to Elizabeth, I just thought about some words to think about my friend, God-fearing, responsible, humble, man of integrity, perseverance, honesty. And, Kyle just really, when I think about character as the things that we do when we think no one else is watching, Kyle, his family has always had great character, really about service above self. And I'm really honored to call him friend and thankful. And blame Elizabeth for dragging me into this opportunity to roast him that I just could not resist. So I'll add $3 more to the cup. Thank you.
Thank you, Raphael. That was perfect, all except the last line of blame Elizabeth. You could have left that part out. Well, so we know that Kyle's academic preparation did not end at Powers. We all know he all lets us know how much he loves his Golden Gophers from the University of Minnesota, which of course where he did his undergrad. And then more recently, you may or may not be aware that he completed his MBA here at U of M Flint, so go blue, right? And so there's really only one step that remains so that you can really climb to that pinnacle of excellence. I think you look great in green. And that's why you got selected as president, no doubt. So Kyle is somebody who he's really embodies that Rotarian commitment to building bridges. He is somebody who can make a connection with anybody. And I think that he really developed that because clearly from this documentary evidence, he spent a period of time as an exchange student with some sort of humanoid space canine and developed some really important connections with that. But truly he's somebody who fosters goodwill and friendships. He embodies so much of the Rotary mission. And so I'd like to think that this sort of experience definitely prepared him for his eventual leadership role in an international organization. Other things, clearly developing a sense of self-mastery, of focus, of discipline. These are all traits that you need as part of a leadership skill set. And so, yeah. Like, don't jump him in the street. Just don't even try it. And those are things that he clearly brings with him now. But I also see how he's carried it forward in other ways. And Kyle already shared a tidbit about his first Rotary experience. And so I just want to elaborate a little bit more on that. So Rotary Group Study Exchange. He wanted to be part of this program sponsored by our club as part of a delegation from our Rotary district to South Korea. It was certainly going to be a very competitive application process. And from what I understand, he got some added assistance, mentorship, guidance about how to prepare for that experience. Any guesses about who was his trainer for this? Indeed, it was Rob Jewell. And there they are, strategizing, mapping it out. How are you going to get this application just right? Is it the truth? Yeah, it's the truth. Indeed. So they worked quite a while on that. And in fact, I actually was able to capture some footage of some of these final training sessions as he was getting ready to submit his application for the Rotary Group Study Exchange. And at last he was ready. So did he get Rob's stamp of approval? Oh yeah. And so Kyle got to go on group study exchange, and I also have to note that was the last group study exchange. So you broke it, Kyle. What happened? Oh, but he comes back from Korea, and of course, you know, decisions. What do you do with your life now that you've had this tremendous Rotary experience? And not surprisingly, given his family history, that one of the key things that he took a look at was the opportunity to run for public office. And so he explored setting up a campaign for the 49th State House District. Absolutely. But then he gave it a little bit of thought, because why be representative if you could be president? So he then shifted his focus away from how do I become state rep to how do I take the reins of Rotary? And so clearly, you know, this experience with Rotary in Korea was transformative. He ended up becoming a member of the club, as has already been spoken to. But he also wrote this essay kind of explaining the significance of that trip to him personally and professionally. And I don't want to say it caused him to get promoted at his place of work, which was at the Flint and Genesee Chamber of Commerce, but it certainly seemed to help because he became their point person for all things Korea, right? And started getting more responsibility, more leadership opportunities. So I don't want to say that we caused him to have a great career, but I think we certainly had it. And he also got involved in very civic things. You had the Flint Master Plan was going on at that time. And so he was involved in the Education and Economic Development Committee, helping to shape the future direction for the city. And all this is really great and also fits into Rotary's commitment to civic involvement. But then he had another idea, because he happened to look at our roster of past presidents. You know, on our website, there's that section that has past presidents going back to our founding. And it also shows the classifications. And yeah, there were some from like chamber type organizations there, but clearly the real path to power is through power. Because there are count them, four past presidents that all had electric light and power as their classification. And so being that he is somebody who does his homework and researches the facts, he saw that if he really wanted to jockey for that top role at Rotary, he needed to switch fields. And so once again, he shifted gears because he had his sights on Rotary. And so he saw that this was truly an opportunity, because the last president from the electric light and power field was from 1974 and actually only served a partial term, left because they moved out of state. So clearly there was a need for redemption in the power field. So finally, presidents at last, we can add Kyle McCree's name to this illustrious list of people representing that classification. And during his time here as president, he has done so many things and done them well. If you think about it, last year at this time, we were still all on Zoom. Kyle had to negotiate, how do we safely bring us all back together? And once again, he did his homework, meeting with Dr. Bobby, having conversations with the board, talking with the food bank, trying to figure out logistically, what do we need to have in place so that people can come back and be together and be safe. He also thought a lot about how do we solidify the connections with each other. So he is somebody who is so person-oriented that he really makes that effort to recognize and see and value the contributions of every person. I know I've been the lucky recipient of that, and I'm sure many of you have as well. He's somebody who saw the completion of our strategic plan and has, with his full faith and effort, helped to put it into motion. And I felt really touched when he shared that his sign of success is that if I can be a success. And if that's not the indication of a true servant leader, I don't know what is. And so I have felt strengthened and included and in my role, and that's because you've taken such an effort to do it in yours, Kyle. So I sincerely thank you for that very much. We only had one Zoom bomber. It was probably the first and only time I've ever heard bagpipe music on a Rotary call, but it was an experience. He navigated through that. as well as all other ups and downs of the year. But certainly the thing that's been completely consistent is that he has put his values first. He has put the people around him first. And so as we close this light toasting of Kyle, I would just like to ask that when we think about Kyle's tenure as president, and I would invite you to respond together. Did he honor the truth? Was he fair to all concerned? Yeah. Did he build goodwill and better friendships? Yeah. And did he act in ways that were beneficial to all concerned? Yeah. There had to be one, right? So Kyle, you did it. You did it well, and you did it with grace. And so I truly thank you, because you have served to change lives. Thank you, Kyle. As a little token of our esteem and affection, we have a few gifts for you, one of which is your president pin. Do you want me to impale you, or would you like to impale yourself? And we have a couple of other thank you gifts as well. And I have to thank District Governor-elect Mike for his help.
We have, oh, nice, a Minnesota clock. It's always time to roll the boat. And so this is a plate that has the old logo of Consumers Power. Yeah. You airmail this thing or something, or shipping it?
I didn't lose it or break it first.
Well, I can't open it up, but I see, I think it's Speedy, was that his name? Speedy, which was the 1960s, 50s mascot of Consumers Power. Yeah, thank you very much. This is wonderful. These are going in my office for sure. Thank you very much. Thank you.
His past president pin and his plaque.
This is the most desirous token in all of Rotary. Thank you. Past president means you know what needs to be done and should be done, but you get to sit back and watch, but also help out. So no, thank you, Elizabeth. Thank you, Raphael, and Mom and Camille will be hearing from me at some point as well. Thank you, Rob Jewell as well, and Mike. Thank you all for this wonderful presentation. Let's give Elizabeth a round of applause. I forgot President-elect Elizabeth and my mother served together on the planning commission for the city of Flint. And I suspect that is how, along with past President Rob Jewell, and so I think that threesome, along with my fellow Charger, who got that yearbook photo of. Yes, I was a nerd in high school. I was not the cool, debonair, suave guy you see now. Okay, that might not be the truth, right? I want to thank you all for your friendship and support this year. I want to thank for today's meeting, David Smith, for a great inspirational message. And thank you, David, for your great tenure with our club and handing over the reins to Ken. You've got big shoes to fill, but no one's expecting you to throw a dart at the stock market. Yes. I want to thank President-elect. You're going to lose a word there in a minute. Elizabeth Jordan, for your great work with the roast. I want to thank Marie for doing our bulletin notes and our birthday acknowledgements, and David Smith also for setup and takedown. And I think I saw District Governor-elect Mike helping out with setup as I was rushing over from a meeting today. We will not be meeting in person on next Friday, and so if we will be once again having lunch at the White Horse. For folks in the room, could we have a show of hands if you think you will be at the White Horse for lunch on Friday? Yeah, thank you. Appreciate it. And do look forward to seeing you all also on the 29th, and we will celebrate and support a great effort, and also cheers Marie. And since the bar tab goes to support Rotary Relief, that's even great reason to raise a cold one and cheers Marie on her birthday. So with that, and for the final time as your president, I am going to ask you to go about your day and your weekend to serve to change lives. And we are adjourned. Bye-bye. See you guys. Thank you.